Have you ever met someone who left you feeling uneasy, drained, or even manipulated, yet you couldn't quite put your finger on why? Sometimes we're not just dealing with a difficult person, we may be face to face with something darker, someone with truly malicious intent. Today, I want to talk about a subject that's uncomfortable but necessary: 5 signs you're dealing with an evil person. Now let me clarify, evil isn't just about dramatic villains in movies. Evil people exist in real life, and they often wear the mask of charm, innocence, or even kindness. Their goal: to control, hurt, or destroy others for their own gain or amusement. Let's explore the signs, not to judge hastily, but to protect ourselves and those we care about. 1. They take pleasure in others' pain. One of the clearest and most disturbing signs you're dealing with an evil person is that they derive satisfaction from the pain of others. This pain doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional, psychological, or even social. What makes it truly alarming is not just the harm they cause, but how they enjoy it. Evil individuals often have a deep-rooted desire to control or diminish others. They may go out of their way to humiliate someone in public, sabotage relationships, or spread rumors, not just to get ahead, but because they enjoy watching others fall. They might mask their cruelty with jokes, sarcasm, or passive-aggressive comments, brushing it off as just being honest, or telling it like it is, but beneath that exterior lies a cold intention to hurt. This behavior often begins subtly. At first, they might laugh when someone else is embarrassed or humiliated, even if it's a friend. Over time, you'll start to notice a pattern. They light up when others are suffering. They may mock someone who's grieving, make light of a tragic situation, or seem oddly energized when drama and conflict erupt around them. In personal relationships, their enjoyment of pain can become even more intimate and insidious. They may intentionally push your emotional buttons, provoke you into reacting, and then step back and calmly watch you unravel. It's not enough for them to win an argument. They want to see you broken, defeated, and emotionally wrecked. That's their victory. Some might go as far as orchestrating harm behind the scenes, setting people up to fail, planting seeds of doubt, or turning friends against each other just to watch the fallout unfold. And when someone confronts them, they often play it cool, deny involvement, or even act confused, as if they have no idea why people are upset. This calculated detachment adds another layer to their malice. They not only hurt others, they refuse accountability for it. What separates these individuals from ordinary flawed people is that this cruelty is not reactive or accidental. It's intentional, repeated, and enjoyed, and that's a chilling realization. 2. They lie without guilt. Lying is a tool for many people, but for an evil person, it is a lifestyle, an art they've mastered, and a weapon they wield without shame. Unlike someone who lies out of fear or to avoid conflict, evil individuals lie with a calculated calmness. There is no hesitation, no remorse, and certainly no guilt. In fact, they often lie even when the truth would serve them just as well, because manipulating reality gives them a sense of power. These individuals craft lies with stunning ease. Their falsehoods are not clumsy or easily detected. Instead, they are often well constructed, believable, and tailored to exploit the emotions of the listener. They will lie about the past to rewrite history. They will lie about what others said or did to stir conflict and division. They will lie about their intentions, their feelings, and their actions, all to maintain control over a situation or a person. Even more dangerous is their ability to lie without flinching. They can look you in the eye, maintain steady body language, and speak with such confidence that you begin to doubt your own instincts. This level of deception is not born from fear. It is born from a lack of conscience. They don't feel bad for misleading you. Instead, they feel superior for getting away with it. When caught, they rarely come clean. Instead, they double down, deny everything, or shift the blame onto someone else. They may accuse you of overthinking, being paranoid, or too emotional. This tactic, known as gaslighting, is especially common. By repeatedly lying and denying, they make you question your own memory, judgment, and even sanity. The goal isn't just to hide the truth, it's to control your perception of it. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, their lies can be devastating. They might lie to multiple people at once, telling each a different version of the story to keep everyone in conflict and themselves at the center of control. If you confront them, they'll twist the narrative so skillfully that you end up apologizing to them, even when they're the one who's wrong. The most chilling part, they can do all this with a smile. There's no shame, no fear of consequence, just a cold, calculated confidence that comes from knowing they can deceive and manipulate others at will. For them, lying isn't just a means to an end, it's a way of life. 3. They play the victim. One of the most manipulative and deceptive traits of an evil person is their ability to play the victim, even when they are the one causing harm. This tactic allows them to deflect responsibility, manipulate others' emotions, and escape accountability. It's not just a defense mechanism, it's a strategic move designed to protect their image and continue their harmful behavior without consequence. At first glance, they may appear to be wounded, misunderstood, or constantly targeted by others. They will often share stories about how they've been wronged by friends, family, co-workers, or even strangers. These stories are crafted to stir sympathy and make others feel protective or guilty, drawing them closer. But if you listen closely, a pattern emerges. They are always the victim, and someone else is always the villain. This narrative serves a few important purposes for them. First, it creates a smokescreen. By constantly positioning themselves as the one who's been hurt, they distract from the pain they're actually causing. Second, it keeps people off balance. Those around them may start to question their own judgment. Maybe I was too harsh. Or maybe I misunderstood what they were going through. This doubt makes it easier for the manipulator to regain control. In many cases, this behavior is used to reverse roles in a conflict. For example, if they lie, cheat, or betray someone and are confronted, they'll twist the situation to make it seem as though they were the one betrayed. They'll bring up your tone, your timing, your words, anything to divert attention from their actions and put you on the defensive. It becomes less about what they did and more about how you made them feel when calling it out. They're also skilled at weaponizing emotions, tears, trembling voices, or self-pitying language like "nobody understands me" or "everyone always leaves me" are used to draw people in and lower their defenses. This emotional manipulation works particularly well on empathetic individuals who naturally want to help or heal others. Evil people exploit that compassion and turn it into a trap. In social circles or the workplace, they may paint themselves as the victim of bullying, exclusion, or unfair treatment, while quietly orchestrating chaos behind the scenes. They'll lie to others about being mistreated, turn people against each other, and watch the fallout unfold, all while keeping their own hands clean. They are often seen as fragile or unlucky, when in truth they are calculated and destructive. What's perhaps most chilling is that they believe their own lies. Over time, they may internalize this victim mentality so deeply that they can justify any behavior, no matter how cruel, because in their minds, they're the one who's been wronged. And once they've secured sympathy from others, they use it as a shield against criticism and a platform for further manipulation. 4. They lack empathy completely. At the core of an evil person's behavior is one defining void, a complete and chilling lack of empathy. Empathy is what allows human beings to connect with each other emotionally. It's our internal compass for understanding someone else's feelings, offering compassion, or showing remorse when we hurt someone. But for an evil person, this essential human trait is missing or deliberately shut off. This absence of empathy doesn't always look obvious. In fact, many evil individuals learn how to fake empathy, mimicking the right facial expressions, using emotionally charged words, and pretending to care when it suits their goals. But if you look beyond the surface, you'll notice something unsettling. Their emotional responses are hollow. When others are suffering, they may say the right words, but their eyes lack warmth. Their voice lacks genuine concern. Their body language is disengaged. Deep down, they don't feel what others feel. They just study it. This emotional detachment allows them to do horrible things without guilt. They can betray your trust, lie to your face, humiliate you in public, or manipulate your deepest insecurities, and sleep soundly afterward. There's no inner conflict, no struggle, no regret. Why? Because your pain doesn't register as real to them. You're not seen as a person with feelings. You're a tool, an object, a means to an end. This lack of empathy becomes especially dangerous in close relationships. If you're in a romantic, familial, or work relationship with someone like this, you may feel emotionally abandoned even after sharing something deeply vulnerable. They might shrug off your grief, change the subject, or turn your suffering into a joke or an inconvenience. You may walk away from conversations feeling dismissed, invalidated, or even ashamed for having emotions in the first place. In conflict, this trait becomes even more disturbing. When you're hurt, they might mock your tears. If you're angry, they might laugh at your frustration. Rather than trying to understand your point of view, they twist it, belittle it, or use it as fuel to escalate the situation. Their lack of empathy is not passive, it's often active, weaponized, and used to gain the upper hand. They know exactly what they are doing, and they don't care how it affects you. This trait also explains their inability to truly change. Because they don't feel guilt or remorse, apologies if they give them are empty. They may say, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I didn't mean it like that." But these are phrases designed to pacify, not to reflect sincere regret. Real change requires self-awareness and empathy, two things evil individuals do not possess. They may mimic change temporarily if it serves their goals, but it's never genuine because they don't truly feel the impact of their actions. Moreover, their empathy deficit extends beyond individuals to the broader world. They may show a lack of concern for injustice, cruelty, or human suffering unless it directly impacts them or can be used for personal advantage. When tragedy strikes others, they might respond with indifference, or worse, with subtle satisfaction if it benefits them in any way. In short, their absence of empathy allows them to be cold, calculated, and deeply harmful, all while maintaining a facade of normalcy or even charm. And once you see it, once you feel the emotional disconnect, you can never unsee it. It explains everything. 6. They twist morality. A deeply unsettling trait of an evil person is their ability to twist morality, to take the basic understanding of right and wrong and reshape it in a way that suits their own selfish agenda. While most people have a moral compass that guides them toward empathy, fairness, and accountability, evil individuals manipulate moral values, redefining them to justify their destructive behavior. This isn't just occasional self-rationalization, it's an ongoing pattern. They don't simply bend the truth or stretch the rules, they actively reconstruct reality to make themselves look like the hero, the victim, or the morally superior one, even when their actions are clearly harmful, unethical, or cruel. They want to be seen as righteous, not just by others, but by themselves, and they'll go to great lengths to spin the narrative in their favor. For instance, if they betray someone's trust, they won't see it as a moral failure. Instead, they'll say, "I had no choice," or "they deserved it," or even "I was just protecting myself." If they manipulate someone emotionally, they may argue that they were teaching the person a lesson or helping them grow. This kind of reasoning isn't just flawed, it's dangerously manipulative because it reframes cruelty as necessity or even as virtue. Evil individuals are also masters of moral inversion, portraying good people as bad and bad people as good, depending on what benefits them in the moment. If someone calls out their behavior, that person is labeled as judgmental, cruel, or unfair. If someone goes along with them or supports their narrative, that person is praised as loyal, wise, or enlightened. Over time, they create a world where their moral logic reigns supreme, and everyone else is pressured to conform or be cast out. This twisted moral framework can also be highly performative. They may speak passionately about justice, fairness, or kindness in public, while behaving in the exact opposite way behind closed doors. They often hide behind righteous causes, using them as shields to gain trust, admiration, or leverage. For example, they might align themselves with charity work, spiritual beliefs, or social movements, not because they care, but because it gives them a moral mask to wear. It becomes a way to silence criticism. How could I be a bad person when I'm doing all this good? In some cases, they project their own immoral behavior onto others. This tactic, known as moral projection, involves accusing others of the very sins they themselves commit. If they lie, they accuse others of dishonesty. If they manipulate, they claim they're the ones being manipulated. This not only confuses those around them, but also keeps them in a constant position of defense, diverting attention away from the true source of harm. Evil people also exploit gray areas in ethics to avoid accountability. They'll say things like, "It's not illegal," or "Everyone does it," or "That's just business." By leaning into technicalities or societal loopholes, they find ways to justify immoral actions under the guise of pragmatism or reality. To them, morality is not a principle to live by. It's a system to manipulate and exploit. The result is a deeply disorienting experience for anyone who interacts with them. You may find yourself questioning your own morals, doubting your instincts, or feeling guilty for calling out behavior that is clearly wrong. This confusion is intentional. It weakens your ability to resist, confront, or walk away from them. And once they've succeeded in warping your sense of right and wrong, they gain even more power over your mind and emotions. 5. They isolate you. One of the most dangerous tactics an evil person uses, especially in close or controlling relationships, is isolation. This isn't just about physical separation from others. It's a calculated and gradual process of cutting you off emotionally, mentally, and socially from your support systems. Their ultimate goal is to gain full control over you by making sure they are the only voice you hear, the only influence you trust, and the only presence you rely on. This form of manipulation doesn't happen overnight. In the beginning, they might come across as incredibly attentive or protective. They'll say things like, "I just want you to myself," or "I don't think your friends really understand you like I do." At first, this may feel flattering, even romantic. But soon, these seemingly innocent comments turn into subtle digs at the people closest to you. Your friends, your family, even your coworkers. They start sowing seeds of doubt. "Have you noticed how your sister talks down to you?" Or "That friend of yours always seems jealous." Before long, you're questioning the motives of people who genuinely care about you. And while you're busy second, guessing those relationships, the manipulator is slowly positioning themselves as the only person you can truly trust. Over time, they may begin to demand more of your attention and energy, making you feel guilty for spending time with others. They'll create drama when you make plans without them, or act withdrawn when you talk about someone else. They may even fabricate stories or lie to turn you against others. "They said something really nasty about you the other day, but I didn't want to upset you." These tactics are all designed to make you feel increasingly isolated, confused, and dependent. What makes this isolation particularly insidious is that it's not always forced. It's covert and emotional. They don't have to lock you in a room. They just manipulate your thoughts until you believe that no one else understands you, no one else supports you, and no one else is truly there for you. Accept them. It becomes a prison without bars, a slow erosion of your connections and independence. In abusive relationships, isolation is one of the most effective tools used to silence the victim. Once you're cut off from others, it's much harder to get a reality check. It becomes difficult to ask for help, seek advice, or even realize you're being manipulated or abused. You begin to doubt your own instincts, because the only feedback you're getting is from the very person who's controlling you. And when you try to reconnect with others, maybe after realizing what's happening, evil individuals often respond with rage, guilt, tripping, or emotional punishment. They might accuse you of betrayal, of choosing others over them, or of being ungrateful after everything they've done for you. This emotional blackmail is designed to keep you trapped, bound by guilt and fear. Even in group settings, they will work to isolate you by undermining your credibility, spreading subtle lies, or casting you in a bad light so others withdraw from you. They are experts at social sabotage, often playing the role of a concerned friend or partner to outsiders while secretly working to destroy your connections behind the scenes. The longer this isolation goes on, the harder it becomes to leave. You may feel alone, broken, and afraid, exactly the state they want you in, because when you have no one else to turn to, they become your entire world. And once they have that level of control, they can do almost anything they want, with little fear of being challenged or exposed. 7. They leave a trail of broken people. Perhaps the most telling sign that you're dealing with an evil person is the wreckage they leave behind. A trail of broken hearts, shattered trust, ruined reputations, and emotionally damaged individuals. This aftermath is not accidental. It is the consequence of deliberate harm, repeated manipulation, and a complete disregard for others' well-being. Evil people do not simply make mistakes or hurt others unintentionally. Their behavior follows a pattern, and the results are always the same: destruction. If you look into their past, you'll likely find multiple relationships that ended in turmoil. Former friends, ex-lovers, family members, or colleagues often carry deep emotional wounds from their encounters with this person. These people may be angry, bitter, withdrawn, or traumatized, not because of a single misunderstanding, but because of ongoing emotional abuse and betrayal. What's even more alarming is how consistent the damage is. Different people from different walks of life may have eerily similar stories, tales of gaslighting, deceit, exploitation, and emotional manipulation. These shared experiences reveal the true nature of the individual. This isn't someone who just had a few rough patches in their relationships. This is someone who destroys connections as a routine part of their life, often while maintaining a public image of charm, kindness, or professionalism. The evil person, however, rarely accepts responsibility. Instead, they move on from one broken relationship to the next, carrying with them a narrative that paints themselves as the victim or the misunderstood party. They will say things like, "Everyone turns on me eventually," or "People are just jealous of me," without ever acknowledging the pain they've caused. In doing so, they avoid accountability and, more importantly, avoid healing, because they don't believe they've done anything wrong. They also ensure that the people they hurt remain silenced or discredited. They may smear former friends and partners, labeling them as unstable, bitter, or vengeful. They rewrite history to protect their image, convincing new acquaintances that anyone who speaks badly of them is lying or exaggerating. Meanwhile, the people they've damaged are left to pick up the pieces, often feeling isolated, invalidated, and emotionally drained. Over time, you may notice that people close to this individual either disappear quietly or remain in the relationship looking drained, confused, or emotionally muted. That's because staying connected to someone like this means enduring emotional manipulation, betrayal, and psychological wear and tear. Many people simply withdraw, while others are left with lasting trauma. This trail of broken people isn't just a red flag, it's a pattern of evidence, and the more you examine it, the more clearly you see the repeated harm. The victims may be different, the details may vary, but the damage is always real, always deep, and always caused by the same cold force, someone who doesn't care who they hurt as long as they get what they want.